Hi lovies, I am popping in really quick because I have been wanting to do this video for a very long time, and I'm going to do a studio tour, and I've been waiting because I've been trying to make sure that it was perfect and that it was clean and all those kinds of things, and I realized that that's just never going to happen. That's just not how I work, and there's too many things and I've got too many projects and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to show you it in the mess, and hopefully you won't mind it. I'm going to take you out to the shop and show you around and let you meet the staff and see that little bit of area, and then I'll bring you in and show you around, and then I'm going to show you my setup for my creative space, how I kind of lay out my products and stuff like that, because I get that question asked a lot as well. So you just get to see the mess, and hopefully you won't mind, and maybe you understand that sometimes creativity is not always neat and clean. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get started. Alright, so here we are in the main shop area, and this is all shipping and everything, and we'll kind of pan around the room here. There's April. April's saying hi. I've got all my originals up on the wall. The main table has all of the area where we prep the orders, and there's Jenny, and she's getting orders ready, and more originals on the wall. There's Patty. And then it goes around the corner, and it's about the same size as this space that has all of our cutters and our inventory and all those kinds of things. That's April's workspace. So that is the kind of main shop area, and then it goes around the corner. And then from here you turn around and you'll go into my studio area, into the studio, and there's Pumpkin right there. There's always one or two dogs in the studio, so there's toys and bones and different things like that. She's always with me. So as you walk into my space, I have my stencils set up here on a rack. I have them divided into groups of like pattern or nature or flowers or different things like that. So I've got them all set up here. And then over here I've got just some old doors that kind of divide off some of the other area, and I painted a chalkboard on there, so I write myself some notes. In this area here, this is just kind of some miscellaneous. I've got encaustic on the bottom. I've got different types of paints and all those kinds of things. On the top I've got all of my magazines that I tear from or use for inspiration, and then this very top row is kind of random bits of things like technology, electronics. That's and so then we'll come in here, and in the center here is my workspace all the way around. So I'm going to take you around the outer loop, and then we'll come back to the center. So as we pass this, now we're into kind of the main area of my studio, and I've just got shelves of mostly odds and ends. So lots of ephemera, lots of grungy bits, papers, bookbinding, fabric that I want to dye, and then I've got some bins here that have different types of papers or stickers or all different kinds of things. Then coming up here I have more goodies like lace and doilies and all different kinds of things in here. And I've got them in jars. I've got different mark making, lots of grungy papers, ribbons, and then up here I have marked, napkins, tissue paper, jelly prints, all those kinds of things. Moving around to the next shelf, on the very top I just have things that I don't use very often but are all in the crafty, creative space: sewing, cardstock, jewelry making, a little bit of everything. Then as we come down here, these are my loves. My vintage books, all my goodness, all the papers, all the things are in these books. I use them. I've created collage packs with them. They're all so good. I'm trying to step over the dog. So on these shelves, let me come in a little closer here. So these are all the books. Then down here I've got some more random bits of things, and then I've got my Bristol papers down here. I've got some cardboard. I have some wallpaper pieces that I use for backdrops for photos. I've got a bucket of vintage wallpaper, and then my table, my silicone table runners are on the bottom there. Random paints that I use on occasion, but not as often as what's on my desk. Then these bins are separated into super vintage papers, and then sort of vintage papers, and then printed papers, and then my books. Then we'll come around. I gotta get over the dog. Come around here. I scooch over. Back up just a bit. So here we have, this is just an area where I've got some of my prints. So I do prints of my work, and I have framed them. This menagerie of things is what I use, what I call props, when I'm taking photos or different things like that, or they are for inspiration, color, texture, different things like that. Down below here I have all my papers, and I'll try to come in here, see if I can do this without making everybody sick. So I've got papers in here, and then I've got all of my additional supplies that I use on the regular are in here. All the things. So that is that area, and then coming across here, so all of these things here are projects. So I've either been sent product that I need to try and do a video, or you do a project or something like that. This is a workshop I'm putting together. This is another workshop that's coming together. This was sent to me by Arteza. I need to play with those. So lots of fun projects that are in the process that I'm waiting to do. This is just inspiration. I have to have color and words and things out all the time. It just keeps me inspired. If I get stuck, I just can look around and find lots of fun things. I do have a lot of these magnetic bins that I use for all of my supplies. Those are my markers. And then this is a piece that's in progress. Has been in progress for a while. I'm kind of stuck. Okay, so then coming back over here, I've got my carts, and I'm going to pull them out. So I have all the rest of my supplies that are not on my desk in these carts. And I just can pull them right over to my desk and turn them around. Every single side has something on them. And again, they're in these little containers that I can just pick up and take to my desk. And I've got the things that I use the most on the top. Those are my Lucas paints. I've got my Arteza paints, and in this cart I've got my Goldens and my heavy bodies. And then down here I have my palette paper that I reuse, my jelly prints, my experimental papers, different things like that I reuse and recollage or put them in my journals. In And so that is my cards. And then let me move these out of the way. Down here are all my journals that I'm working on or that are part of video series or different things like that. I constantly have journals open, working constantly. Papers in this area that I use or journals that need to be created in. And then so then we will, let me scooch over here, step back a little bit, and then I've got this cabinet here that just has a kind of a drape on it to kind of tidy things up a little bit. And back here, behind the curtain, is just, oops, sorry, extra supplies, business supplies, different things like that will stay in there. And then coming around this way is the business side, is my office. So I've got my monitors here that I use, and this is my bookshelf here that has all of my finished journals or different things that I use, a few M&Ms up there. And then come back around here. So this is where I do all my video editing and all that. I have my printers, more business stuff. This is all of the agenda for the year for the business up in here. And then over here I have some wonderful art that, so this is from Mistel. This is Julie Campbell, and these are Tracy Verdugo. And then this bookshelf here is just some fun things. My favorite quote books, some of my favorite things over here, and they're from the kids, from friends, different things that people have made me that I collect. I love to have things that have meaning, and so I collect a lot of different things. These are the different cameras that I use for doing video. These little jars have rusty elements in them, and then sea stones and seashells from trips and different things like that. Everything has a little bit of meaning. And I've got my diffuser, and I'm big on having good smells and different things like that. So lots of flowers. I use them for, again, inspiration and colors and different things like that. So that's the outer edge of the studio. All right, so here we have, I've got my journals that I'm working in that I'm constantly dabbing off on or gluing stuff into, that I have something to work with when I get to my journals. These are papers and different things that I'm working on. Samples, ideas, all that kind of stuff is in here. Then I have my soft pastels, and everything is within arm's reach. So I've got my soft pastels, I've got some baby wipes, and of course we need some love. I've got my oil pastels, Breyers, Posca pens, more soft pastels, crayons, water-soluble crayons, Inktense pencils, and then my larger tools back here. I've got tape, lots of tape, because I'll tape off a piece, the edge of a piece if I'm working on paper. Then here, in this little stand here, it turns, so everything is right here. All of my high flows, my inks, my fluid acrylics are all right here. Then here are the brushes that I use most often, and it looks like a hot mess, and that's probably because it is. And then so I've got additional brushes and then charcoal pencils. A girl's got to have some charcoal pencils. I was trying to get the right light here. If I can turn this light down. There, charcoal pencils. Then I have, so let me back up. So here we are. So I'm just kind of working my way around here. So I'm at my desk now. So here I have my archival stamp pads because I use them all the time, and then my pencils, my charcoal pencils are right here with my, because I use them every day, all the time. Let me pull this light back up. And then I have my paints. I have a riser here that I have my Lucas paints on. That's my current love. Could change by next week. Then I've got my fixatives here. I've got my mediums over here. All my different mediums in here. This is a drawer that I put on my desk just because I have my camera, my phone, for my phone. This is let me just put that up there. So I use that when I do lives. This is my monitor for my camera. And so when I do a live, I can put, or a Zoom call, I can put my computer up here as well to be able to see what's going on. All right, then coming down here, I have my silicone mat on my desk. Here, my workspace. This is my palette, and these are some new Nova colors that I just got that I want to experiment some more with. My paint buckets, and they always look like that. I wish I could say that I was a neat creative, but I'm not. It always looks like this. Scissors, gesso, things that these are things that just are always in use. More additional mediums in the back there that I use on the regular. I have two OT lights on my desk that help me when I'm creating, and when I have those on when I film as well. And then up above I have an additional light that I use when I film. I don't have it on right now. And then this right here is where my camera normally is. So I have my camera on a partial tripod right now as I'm filming, so that's normally where my camera is. So I have my phone, if I'm filming with my phone or with my camera. And then I have a lot of lights up above. Okay, so, and then here I have my iPad because, again, second monitor as I'm filming. Then down below I have, these are stamps, and I don't use them very often any longer, but I can't bear to part with them. Gesso, hand wipes, Deco Arts products, some more stamps. Look at all those stamps. Washi tape, handmade stamps in there. Then I have my jelly plates and my other water-soluble products in here. And then I have my beeswax and my gold foil. And then over here I have all of my additional pens and different things that I use, tags, little tiny bits of ephemera down here, odds and ends back there, and then additional colors and paints that I will go to, that I don't have all of my paints in here, but I put the ones that I use the most in here because I want everything kind of right at hand. So I've got cards and my different things like that in here. So okay, and garbage can, and that is it. So I hope that gave you a good idea of how my setup is. Everything is at arm's reach, and I find that it's super easy to create that way when I know what I use the most, because if I have to go searching for it, then the mojo stops, my ideas stop, and if if it's not within arm's reach, I won't create with it. So that's it, my friends. All right, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next week.